In this video, let us look into the graphical representation of pair of linear equations in two variables. Now, in the previous video, we just looked into the graphical representation of linear equations generally, but here we are specifically looking into the graphical representation of pair of linear equations in two variables. Now, what we're going to do in this video is, now we already know what is the graphical representation of a pair of linear equations in two variables, but now what we're going to do in this video is just see what are the outcomes, what are the maximum outcomes, what are the different types of the graphical representations we may get when we represent a pair of linear equations in two variables graphically. Now the first condition is going to be like this. Now on the whole, we are going to get three different types of conditions when we represent a pair of linear equations in two variables graphically, not more than three. So I'll just, to start off with, I'll draw the three graphs here. I mean, just to start off with, the basic XY coordinates, the X and Y axis. Let me show you what happens. The first case is called as intersecting lines. Now what happens here? Now say for example, you have plotted a linear equation like this. Now in this intersecting lines, when you plot another linear equation, it intersects with this already plotted line. So these kind of graphical representation are called as intersecting lines. Now remember, both these green lines represent a linear equation in two variables, such as this. Say this line would be a1x plus b1y plus c1 equal to 0, where a1, b1 and c1 are the constants and x and y are the two variables that we're talking about. Now this another line is going to be another equation which should be a2x plus b2y plus c2 equals 0. So these are the two linear equations whose graphical representations are these two green lines, and when they are represented graphically, they do so by intersecting each other. So this is one of the types of the graphical representation, which gives us intersecting lines. So what is the next one? Now next one, let's draw the lines and see what they are like. One is going to be like this. Say for example, one line is going to be somewhat like this. So this is a graphical representation of a linear equation. Again, say let this be a1x plus b1y plus c1 equal to 0. One more is going to be like this. So I think you already got it. So this equation will be a2x plus b2y plus c2 equals 0. If you notice, these two lines are never going to intersect at all, no matter how long you extend them. So these lines are called as parallel lines. We're going to get parallel lines as a result of a graphical representation of a pair of linear equations in two variables. So this is one of the types of graphical representation that we will end up doing apart from the intersecting lines. And one more is this. Say we've got one line like this, and say another line is going to be like this. All right. Yeah, it's going to be like this. So what is this? So these are, now if you extend, it's going to be the same line. Okay. So these lines are a1x plus b1y plus c1 equals 0. Another line is going to be a2x plus b2y plus c2 equals 0. So these lines are called as coincident lines. So these are the three kinds of graphical representation that we will get when we plot a graph for a pair of linear equations in two variables. So that's the introduction to the graphical representation of a pair of linear equations in two variables. This concludes this video. In the forthcoming videos, let us solve problems based on these three types of graphical representation of a pair of linear equations in two variables.